Hello students, today we are going to start the new chapter of history, that is chapter number 3, that is known as ruling the rural areas. Now before this lesson we had dealt with the colonialism of India. So there we have already read in the previous chapter that after the Battle of Buxar, the English East India Company got the right to collect the revenue from Bihar, Bengal and Odisha. Now as the British powers controlled Indian territory, so they required lot of money. What for they required the money? They required the money because they had to bear the cost to maintain the administrative structure. Now when we had finished the chapter, previous chapter, there we had talked about the administrative structure of the Britishers. So to maintain all these administrative structure, the money was required. Then there was war expenses also, that whenever they needed to have war with some or for the annexation of any other territory or any other expenditure on the army, then for that also they needed money. Now they also needed money for buying Indian goods to export to England. So for this trading also lot of money was required. So all these money which was required, they wanted to collect it from India only through the revenue system. So the only aim, what was the aim of this company people? Their aim was only to make maximum of the money, to plunder a lot of wealth from India. Now at that time what happened? The land revenue was only the main source of income, means the collection of the revenue, as we had talked about when we were talking about the annexation of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. So this was the only system through which this was actually the main source of income. Okay, so it had to be collected very timely, so that the expenditure on the cost of maintaining the administrative structure or buying Indian goods and exporting to the other country or maintenance of the war, all these could be managed. So in this chapter we will be studying about the land revenue policies. Now land revenue policies, if we talk about that, what were the system of the revenue which was implemented by the Britishers, and from time to time, like different governor generals were also there. Then how did they implement the revenue, and what was the condition of the people who were paying the revenues to the British government? Now this land revenue policies we will be talking in till 1793. If you see, before the Britishers had started this implementation of the land revenue, let us see what was the condition of the people over here in India. So here the people were very much self-sufficient, and the primary occupation was agriculture, and the farmers, they used to till the fields, and then part of the yield was paid as a tax to the king. Then there were some other occupations also other than the agriculture which was going on, that was art, craft, pottery making, iron smelting, etc. So these were some of the work which was going. So here the people were self-sufficient and they could pay the part of their earning to the king as the tax. Now here we will be talking about the land revenues till 1793. Now this East India Company, after obtaining the Diwani of Bihar, Bengal and Orissa in 1765, they previously they continued with the same methodology of revenue collection. Whatever was going on, that the people had to give the part of their, or you can say the share of their earning, to the king. So here now to whom they will be paying? Will they be paying to the king again? No, they will be paying to the English people. Now there were some corrupt officers of the company, and they wanted to collect more amount of money so that they could become more prosperous, they could become more wealthier, and for their personal fortunes, you can say, that for their personal benefits they wanted to plunder more revenue. Now this as a result, what happened? The economy of the village started declining very soon. Very rapidly it started declining during this period when the people had to give the revenue to the Britishers. Now agricultural production, since lot of investment was also required for the agricultural production, so since the farmers were left with very small amount of money, so it this agricultural production also started declining. Artisans also, they left the places, and then they handed over their means they left the places and started migrating to the other places. Then the handmade goods which were made by the other artisans, they were also forced to sell those products at a very low price. Okay, so the condition of these artisans were also becoming very worst, and the situation started going declining very fast. Now Warren Hastings, he introduced in 1772, that was named as the Izardari system. So here this Izardari system, it is also one of the system which was adopted to for the revenue. This was adapted to improve the situation because the situation was getting worse. So here they tried to improve the situation. He tried to improve the situation, and in this situation, what was the thing through which he could improve the situation? Because he got the he asked the highest bidder. There used to be auction, and the person who used to bid the highest, they got the right to collect the revenue, and it was given this period for the bidder for the 5 years. Now these bidders, they were called as contractors, and through this system they all started collecting the revenues, and they it was like the bidders who used to collect the revenue, they had to pay to the company people. Now this company people who could never realize the whole amount, because supposing the bidder, the highest bidder who were collecting the revenue, how much did they collect the amount, and did they pay the entire amount to the company, or they are left with more amount and they are paying, these contractors are paying less amount to the company and keeping major part. They were not feeling satisfied, the company people, they were not feeling satisfied on this point. So, and moreover, there was instability in the revenue, because the income earned changed every year according to the bidding and the real collection. Means how much the bidder is bidding and how much is the real collection. This could not be made out by the company people. So in order to smoothen the revenue collection process, what happened? The company introduced 3 new revenue collection systems, and they were named as this permanent settlement, Mahalwari system, and Rotwari system. These were the 3 methodologies, 3 policies adopted by these Britishers for the collection of the revenue. And we will be today we will be studying about these 3 systems of the revenue collection system. Okay, so first we will go with the permanent system, permanent settlement. Now this permanent settlement, it was introduced by this Lord Cornwallis. Lord Cornwallis had introduced this permanent settlement, or you can say the Zamindari Bandobast in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. So what was the main features? What was the main feature of this permanent settlement? In this permanent settlement, the revenue which was to be collected, that was used to be fixed, and that means it used to be permanent, and there was no course of revision later. Okay, so what happened? The local zamindars was supposed to be collecting the revenue from the peasants, and on time they had to pay to the company people. Now this here you see, there was no scope of revision. So it was a great problem, because even if the crops failed or due to drought or flood, this revenue they had to pay by any means. So this was a great problem, because if the crop used to or you can say the earning of the people used to be fine, then they could pay. But if there is flood or drought or any other circumstances due to which the people could not, the peasants could not earn properly, then it was very difficult for them to pay to the company, and that too also had to be paid on time. Now this all these problems were there, and if they could not pay, then what used to happen? The land which the peasants used to own, that was auctioned off, and then the amount was means they, whatever was the amount which they used to earn from this auction, that was the share, whatever was required for the company, that they used to take it. So this led to a great dissatisfaction among the peasants, and a new class of absentee landlords started emerging. So what happened? These merchants and traders who owned the land in the village, but they did not used to live there. What they used to do? They used to live in towns and leave the land over there on which the other people used to work, and that means they wanted to avoid the circumstances of paying the tax to the company people. Now from the status of tax collection, it became slowly it started becoming hereditary, and then the landowners, they were taking the taxes. So the cultivators, they became the tenants, because they used to do the land, used to tile the land and then do the agricultural product, and the landowners, they were living in the towns if they found it difficult to continue the harvesting or you can say the cultivation on the field. Now whatever here what happened, these zamindars, they used to do all these things and then pay to the company people. After paying to the company people, whatever was left with the zamindars, that used to be the profit for the people, for the zamindars. Now let us see, there are some advantages of the company people. Okay, now income of the company, what happened? It started increasing, and even during the adverse climatic condition, whether it was flood or famine, they used to get they were assured that the earning, their source of earning is not going to fail, because the peasants had to pay. So this was a regular source of income. This was the advantage of the for the company people. And then new landlords was support, and the supporters were there for the British government, because there were landlords who wanted to support the Britishers. Why? Because a major whatever was left as the profit of those landlords. So for earning these profits, they wanted to do this work, and the Britishers used them to establish their authority as well as for the suppressing revolt. They started using these landlords for the authority, as well as even if there is some revolt, then they wanted to use these people to suppress them. Then what was the effect of the peasants and the zamindars on these peasants and zamindars? Here, this permanent settlement, what effect did it had on the peasants and the zamindars? So the peasants, they suffered terribly in this system. Then the peasants, who were the actual cultivators of the land, were left on the mercy of the zamindars. Why? Because they had to pay very high revenue, and if they could not pay the revenue, then the land was also auctioned. So it was all on the mercy of the zamindars. So the condition of the peasants were very bad under these zamindars. Now, in order to pay the revenue, peasants also, supposing they are not able to pay the money, then they used to move to the money lenders, and these money lenders took the advantage of the situation, and they gave money at a very high interest. And if these peasants, they were not able to pay these loans, then they were compelled to migrate to cities, and even sometimes they had to sell the land also, and then they were compelled to even migrate to cities, because they were not left with anything. Then the land revenue, you see, it was so high that even the landlords were not able to manage it, and that is why initially many years zamindars lost their land. Now neither the Britishers nor the landlords made any investment in the land, because the Britishers, they also wanted money, and then the landlords, they were also interested in the leftover profits, leftover amount which was the profit for them. So none of them did anything for the improvement of the agricultural products, or bringing any improvement in the land. So they did not work on that field, they only wanted to earn money. Now these peasants, they were forced, ultimately, see, they lost their land also, they were not able to pay the taxes also. So now they were forced to grow the cash crops, and there were few crops which were grown as cash crops, and like indigo, cotton, and there were many others. So here we will be taking these two examples only. Now let us see what happened in the Rotwari system. Now this Rotwari system, it was again another type of another system of collecting the revenue, and it was introduced in Bombay and Madras presidencies. We had already talked that the territory was divided into presidencies, and the revenue was directly collected from the roads. Now who were these roads? They were the cultivators. So they were directly collected from the cultivators, and these roads was recognized as the owner of the land, who paid the tax directly to the government. Now this system was actually introduced by Thomas Munro, okay, and that is why it was also named as Munro system. Now under this, what happened? The landowner owned the land, and the roads were separately these lands were surveyed. That means how much of production is can be how much of grains could be produced in, and then the taxes were also very high, approximately 55%. That was more than half, okay, and it was collected very rigidly. There was no soft way of collecting the revenue. They were very rigid in collecting these revenues. And the system, which was known as Munro system because of the Thomas Munro, the peasants, the condition of the peasants, were the farmers were also very bad, and that is why these roads, their position was not better. We cannot say that their position was anywhere better than the conditions of the peasants who were under the zamindari system, okay. Their conditions were also the same, only the difference was that the roads, they used to pay the taxes directly to the company. And here the difference between means there what used to happen, they used to pay the taxes to the zamindars, and here they used to pay directly to the company, that means the government, okay, that was the government. Now these peasants were so poor that they could not do any improvement for the land also, because now see, the landowners, landlenders, money lenders, they were also not doing any for them, and the company were also not doing anything for the land. And these people, these peasants, were so poor that they could hardly make any investments, or you can say hardly do anything to bring any improvement in the quality of the soil or the type of production. Nothing could be done on the land, and they were also not able to fulfill the high revenue demands, and the poor roads, they also had to migrate to the cities. So this is about the Rotwari system, Rotwari system, and then now we shall be doing the Mahalwari system. Now Mahalwari system, it was introduced in the Punjab and parts of Uttar Pradesh and central India. And here the word Mahal, it means the revenue that the state includes, including a few villages, or you can a village or a group of villages. Why village? Because if the village was quite big enough, or they used to also have the group of villages, and this was named as one Mahal, okay. And this Mahalwari system, it was introduced by Holt Mackenzie. Holt Mackenzie was the person who had introduced system, And then under this system, what happened? The land was inspected and it was also measured. The land was also measured, and then they got the rights to do the cultivation in that field. And different groups were recording the company's officers. All these records were maintained by the company people. There were officials who used to maintain all these records, that what is the measurement of the land, and what is the condition of the land, what is the type of the soil, and how much will be the production done on that land. So all these things were maintained by the company officials. Now according to this estimated revenue was planned, and then each plot within the village was added to calculate the revenue that each mahal had to pay. So here the payment was calculated for a mahal. That means one mahal, that is a village or a group of village. So how much revenue they have to pay, that was decided, calculated actually, according to the land and the quality of the land, and which the officials, company officials, they used to do. Now this they were the conditions were very worst, and the talukdars or the head of the village, they used to collect the revenue, and the rate of revenue was periodically revised. Means after a certain period of time it was revised. So it was revised means it will never come down, it will be always be rising only. And it was roughly, if you see the revenue which was collected, it was roughly half of the total agricultural production. So half of the total agricultural production, that was also like great. That means around about 50%. So let us see this Mahalwari system, what effect it had. What all these systems were there, like permanent settlement, Rotwari system, and Mahalwari system. So what was the effect of these systems? Let us see what happened in the effect of these systems. Now, due to this great revenue policy of the English, there was there was occasionally, sometimes you can say in between, there were famines also, and the condition of the farmers also started deteriorating. That means it started declining, and they were forced to sell their land. They were because their condition was that they could neither give the revenue properly, nor could they bring any improvement in their agriculture. So they were forced to sell their land. And then these zamindars were very indifferent towards the farmers. Although the zamindars, they were the Indian, but they were working under the Britishers. So they were very much indifferent, and they had a very different behavior towards the farmers. And they also did not do anything to bring any improvement in the agriculture. Now there were there were for since the condition of the agriculturists or the farmers, it was not good at all. So there were lot of agrarian riots also, and then this land, it became a sellable commodity. Previously, people never used to sell the land; they used to do agriculture, or somehow or the other they used to manage with the land which they had. But now people started selling these land, so it became a sellable commodity. And then that means that it could be either sold or bought, or it could also be means kept on the you give me this much of money, and then it will be in your hand, and when I will pay back the money, then you give me the land. So people never hardly could bring their what do you say, land back to their hands back. So this money lender, they were playing very important role in improvising the peasantries. Why? Because in order to meet the revenue demand and the household expenses, there were certain like marriages were there, or some social functions, or some other rituals and practices and festivals. For that, again, they had to go to the money lenders to collect to take the money, and then they used to assure that then when they will have a good harvest, they will return back. But their position was such that hardly they could return the money back, and that means farmers were continuously in debt only. Now it was, and the money lenders also, they were also taking very high rate of interest. Okay, so most of the time they were not able to pay back, and they lost the property in the hands of these money lenders. So
continuously these farmers were always in debt. So here you came to know that what were the revenue systems which were being adopted by the Britishers after it had had its administrative structures settled. Okay, so tomorrow we shall be continuing, and we will be talking about that what type of crops were grown by the Britishers, and it was the Britishers who were making it grown, that was the cash crops, and how these farmers, what was the condition of the farmers who were working under them. Okay, that's all for today. Hope you understood the chapter well. Thank you.